6 common household products that might do subtle harm to your body after the age of 70. As well as advice on how to stay safe at home. Have you ever pondered whether or not the commonplace goods in your home run the risk of becoming poisonous as they age? The more we become older, the more delicate our bodies get. All of our organs, including our lungs, our skin, and our immune systems, are not functioning as well as they once did. However, the majority of us are unaware of the fact that the things we use on a daily basis can gradually become poisonous when our defenses are no longer as powerful as they once were. In this video, we will discuss 6 typical household products that, after you reach the age of 70, become surprisingly hazardous with regard to your health, because of the chemicals that they emit and the way that they interact with organs that are becoming older. These things are not merely a load of unnecessary clutter. You might not even be aware of the strain that they are putting on your heart, lungs, and brain from their actions. Stay with me until the very end because one of these may be right in front of you. And if you make a few minor adjustments today, you might preserve your health in ways that will add years to your life. Let's get started. To begin, scented candles and air fresheners are the top choices. They give off the impression of being innocuous and even nice. Before going to bed, place a plug-in air freshener in the hallway and light a lavender candle. We make use of these items in order to experience comfort, calm, and a feeling of being at home. However, after the age of 70, your lungs might not react in the same way. There is a substance known as volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, that is released by a variety of scented candles and air quality products. In the event that the product is heated or sprayed, these are the chemical gases that are released into the atmosphere. Every time that gentle scent permeates the space, you may not be able to see them, but you are taking them in through your breath. Moreover, although your nose could become accustomed to it, your lungs will not. The respiratory systems of the elderly become increasingly sensitive as we become older. The lungs become less elastic, the airways grow drier, and the body's ability to filter out pollutants begins to slow down. All of these changes. A scented candle may be a slight irritant for a younger adult who is in their earlier years. However, for an individual who is in their 70s or 80s, the same smell can subtly cause inflammation, exacerbate pre-existing illnesses such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, or asthma, and even increase the risk of cardiovascular stress. At the age of 75, there was a woman named Judith who cherished the aroma of vanilla candles. Every night, she would light one while she was eating supper, and then again while she was getting ready for bed. She became aware that her breathing had become more constricted over time, particularly throughout the night. Before realizing that the pattern matched her candle use, her physician initially believed that she was suffering from seasonal allergies. Her symptoms began to become less severe just a few days after she stopped lighting them. In addition, it is not limited to candles. A great number of room sprays and plug-ins contain synthetic scent, which is a type of chemical that does not simply remain in the air alone. They adhere to textiles, they settle on skin, and they gradually accumulate in your body over the course of time. Headaches, dizziness, and even shifts in hormone levels have been related to several of these conditions. Although this does not imply that you are required to live in a house that has no aroma, there are more secure ways to ensure that your home always smells of freshness. Regularly opening windows will help to circulate air. If you want to create a natural aroma, you should use actual plants like lavender or mint. Additionally, if you continue to love candles, select ones that are manufactured from beeswax or soy and have only essential oils with no synthetic fragrances added. Your lungs have been by your side throughout the entirety of this journey. You have been able to go through a number of scares, as well as colds and coughs. Thanks to them, at this moment, it is best to provide them with cleaner air, more tranquil environments, and a vacation from the chemicals they are unable to bear in silence any longer. It is never acceptable to purchase a scent at the expense of your breath. Encourage your heart and lungs to feel at peace by making your home a place where they may relax. Second, nonstick pans that have seen better days. Most likely, they have been in your kitchen for a number of years. That go-to frying pan that has a surface that is simple and easy to clean. This is the one you reach for first thing in the morning since nothing else sticks. Nevertheless, here is something that the majority of people fail to recognize once a nonstick pan begins to wear down. Even in little amounts, it can cause the production of invisible poisons that your body, particularly after the age of 70, has a more difficult time dealing with. Pans that are nonstick are typically coated with a substance known as polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE for short. In most cases, stability is maintained when the surface is perfectly smooth and unbroken. Over time, however, scratches will appear. This covering is beginning to break off. Additionally, the minute it breaks down, it has the potential to produce odors, particularly when the pan is heated to particularly high temperatures. These fumes have the potential to irritate your lungs and cause symptoms similar to those of the flu, a reaction that is known as polymer fume fever. And while it can just feel like a slight annoyance to someone younger, it can make breathing more difficult and stress the heart for elderly people, whose lungs are already more fragile than those of younger people. Perfluorinated compounds, also known as PFCs, are substances that have been related to inflammation, hormone disruption, and in some studies, even the risk of cancer. Long-term exposure to deteriorated nonstick coatings has raised concerns about these chemicals, even in environments where there are no visible symptoms. For the past few decades, a man named George, who was 78 years old, had been making use of the same pan repeatedly, despite the fact that the surface had become worn down over the years. He did not give it any concern. Each and every morning, he prepared eggs. After then, there was a period of uninterrupted coughing and exhaustion. His doctor ruled out the possibility of an infection and started questioning about his exposure to chemicals. It was at that moment that George brought up the pan. After switching it out, he noticed that his symptoms gradually began to improve. When it comes to nonstick cookware, the problem is that the risk is not immediately apparent. You are unable to taste it. You don't detect any odors. It is also possible that you will not see it if you do not know what to look for. The harm, however, is cumulative. If you continue to favor nonstick cooking, select more recent pans that are designated as being free of PFOA and get them replaced as soon as the surface begins to show symptoms of wear. Alternately, you may think about options made of ceramic, cast iron, or stainless steel that are more durable. In addition, they do not pose the same chemical concern. Instead of being a source of delayed exposure, your kitchen ought to be the focus of your home's attention. That being said, take a look at those antique pans. It is time to dispense with the surface if it is scraped, peeling, or simply has an unsettling sensation. Because you have prepared so many delicious meals, you cannot let the equipment you employ to ruin your health. You have exerted a great deal of effort to safeguard. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Cleaners that contain bleach and ammonia come in at number 3. The strong-smelling cleaners that claim to disinfect every surface and leave your bathroom or kitchen sparkling clean are probably ones that you have used for decades. However, as you reach the age of 70, the use of agents such as bleach or ammonia does not simply clean your property. Your lungs may sustain damage in a stealthy manner. Your blood pressure may rise, and you may experience feelings of dizziness, lightheadedness, or even worse. The rationale is not complicated. These chemical cleaners release powerful fumes into the air. In addition, as you become older, your body's capacity to eliminate toxins from your system reduces. When you are exposed to something, the lining of your lungs will get thinner. Your breathing may already be shallower, and it will take your body longer to recover from something. The ease with which this can be disregarded is what makes it even more hazardous. A counter may be sprayed, a floor could be mopped, or the bathtub could be wiped out without you giving it a second thought. Your lungs, on the other hand, will never become accustomed to the odor, even if your nose does. Even exposure for a short period of time can irritate the airways, induce coughing or shortness of breath, and in some circumstances trigger a reaction similar to asthma, even if the individual has never had asthma before. In the event that these products are mistakenly used together, there is an additional hidden risk. Even in minute quantities, the combination of bleach with ammonia results in the production of a poisonous gas known as chloramine. Moreover, for a person over the age of 70, inhaling such air for even a few minutes can result in chest pain, confusion, or even a trip to the emergency room. A woman named Phyllis, who was 81 years old at the time, was described to me as having been cleaning her bathroom as part of her typical Saturday routine. Without realizing it, she combined two different cleaners, one having bleach and the other having ammonia. After a few minutes, she began to experience dizziness and sat down on the floor. After some time had passed, her grandson discovered her, who was barely conscious, and brought her to the hospital. To her great relief, she was able to recover, but her physician informed her that she had experienced a severe response to the fumes. Positively, there are alternatives that are less dangerous. The majority of surfaces can be cleaned without the release of hazardous fumes by using hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and white vinegar. Furthermore, there are now cleaners that are derived from plants that are capable of accomplishing the task without the use of harsh chemicals. If you do decide to use a more powerful product, make sure to keep the windows open, put on gloves, and never combine cleaners unless the label specifically states that it is okay to do so. At the age of 40 or even 60, your body is not the same as it was to you. What it used to tolerate without any problems now requires more attention. Your health is not just affected by the food you consume or the way you sleep. It is also affected by the air you breathe, particularly when you are in the comfort of your own home. Whether you find yourself reaching for that old bottle that is stored under the sink, take a moment to pause, read the label, and ask yourself whether there is a more secure alternative. What you are doing is more than just cleaning a floor. You are also safeguarding the air that you breathe. And after the age of 70, that is the kind of cleanliness that comes into its own. Food containers made of soft plastic come in at number 4. You probably had them stored away in your cabinets for years because they are not only lightweight but also convenient. You can use those containers made of soft plastic to preserve leftovers or to pack a snack for a fast snack. However, here is the portion that is frequently forgotten about until you reach the age of 70. It is possible that the chemicals contained within some of these plastics will start to have an effect on your body in ways that were previously unaffected. Bisphenol A, sometimes known as BPA, is a chemical that can be found in many older plastic containers, particularly those that have a slightly bending sensation or have gotten murky over the course of consumption. Using it, plastics can be made more durable and resistant to damage. When these containers are cooked in the microwave or washed frequently in hot water, however, they have the potential to begin leaching BPA directly into the food that you consume. However, this is when the problems start to arise. An endocrine disruptor is the term that scientists use to describe BPA. This indicates that it has the ability to imitate the hormones that are produced by your body, particularly estrogen, and causes disruptions to normal processes such as metabolism, memory, and even the way in which your body manages blood pressure or blood sugar. At this point, younger people might be able to flush out minor exposures without seeing a significant impact. However, around the age of 70, the natural filtering systems of the body, such as the liver and kidneys, become less efficient and less powerful. When BPA accumulates over time, it can gradually contribute to issues with cognition, cardiovascular health, and even bone density. This can happen in a number of different ways. An individual by the name of Robert, who was 79 years old, was known to use the same plastic containers for almost everything. His meals were prepared in them, and he would wash them in the dishwasher, freeze them, and microwave them. Over the course of his life, he began to experience an increase in brain fog, an increase in fatigue, and fluctuating blood pressure. His physician inquired about the use of plastics and suggested that he convert to drinking from glass containers. After making the adjustment, Robert's blood pressure gradually returned to normal, and his mental clarity began to improve within a few months. The difficulty is in the fact that it does not appear to be a threat to one's health. There is no unpleasant odor, taste, or symptoms that are present right away. On the other hand, small exposures can pile up over time, day by day and month by month. So what are your options? To begin, examine the bottom of each of your containers. They may contain BPA if they have a recycling code of 3 or 7, which indicates that they are recyclable. Bottles made of plastic, glass, or stainless steel that do not contain BPA should be used in their place. In addition, regardless of what the label may suggest, you should never heat plastic in the microwave. Additionally, it is time to get rid of your containers if they have signs of damage such as scratches, stains, or warping. Plastic that is getting older degrades more quickly and leaches more. You have spent your entire life preparing meals, keeping leftovers, and providing nourishment to those you care about. You are entitled to containers that safeguard your health rather than those that stealthily undermine it. Every bite you take after the age of 70 is significant. And so is the container it has been sitting in. I would appreciate it if you could leave a remark number 4 below to let me know that you are still visiting this page and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Moldy shower liners and bath mats come in at number as well. The majority of us do not give much thought to this matter. First, you enter the shower, and then you exit onto the rubber mat that you are so accustomed to. In addition, it is possible that your leg will come into contact with the shower curtain when you reach for a towel. These are things that occur on a daily basis. It is possible for objects such as bath mats and shower liners to become concealed sources of mold, germs, and respiratory problems once you reach the age of 70. This is especially true when the products are old or have not been allowed to completely dry out. The bathrooms are settings that are warm and damp. In addition, this makes them the ideal breeding ground for mold spores and mildew over the course of time, particularly in areas such as the folds of a vinyl shower liner or the underside of your rubber bath mat. Initially, you might not see any signs of growth. It's possible that you won't even be able to smell it. On the other hand, those minuscule spores are still capable of floating through the air and entering your lungs directly. Even relatively slight exposures can result in inflammation, coughing, and in some instances, fungal infections that settle deep in the chest. This is because our immune systems naturally weaken as we get older, and the body becomes slower to fight off infections. This exposure can be especially dangerous for people who suffer from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, asthma, or a heart issue. A lady by the name of Darlene, who was 82 years old, possessed a bath mat that she had utilized for more than 5 years. Mold had been developing covertly beneath the surface. Despite the fact that everything appeared clean from the top, suddenly, she started experiencing a persistent cough and a little pressure in her chest, which left her doctor perplexed. It was not until her daughter paid a visit to the house that they were able to locate the person who had been hiding in the bathroom. 1 week after replacing the mat and liner, there was a discernible improvement in the situation. The fact of the matter is that these things are not intended to last forever. Not only do they become unclean once they begin to retain moisture, but they also represent a hazard that is sluggish and unnoticeable. And the risk is not limited to the respiratory system. When wet, mats can become slippery, which increases the danger of falling. Shower curtains have the potential to house bacteria that can cause irritation to sensitive skin, particularly in older persons who have skin that is thinner and drier. What exactly is the answer? Swap out your rubber bath mats every 6 to 12 months, or choose for fabric bath mats that can be washed in the machine and cleaned on a regular basis. In the case of your shower curtain or liner, it is recommended that you either wash it once a month or replace it annually, particularly if it is made of plastic. Additionally, after each use, make sure to leave the curtain open and hang mats over the rail or tub. This will ensure that both items are completely dry out. It's not just about appearance when it comes to a clean bathroom. Breathing properly, moving safely, and getting rid of the little things that quietly offer a risk are all important aspects of this technique. Despite the fact that you have worked hard to gain comfort in your everyday routines, comfort should never come with undetected expenses. There are instances when even the most insignificant improvements, like as a new mat or a liner, can preserve your health in ways that you would not have anticipated. Floor clutter and heavy rugs are present. The throw rug by the bedside, the stack of magazines by your reading chair, and the beautiful basket near the hallway are all examples of things that, at first look, would not appear to be dangerous objects. But after the age of 70, these seemingly innocuous goods, which are comfortable, well-known, and appear to be harmless, can quietly become one of the most dangerous threats in your home. How come? Simply because our equilibrium shifts as we get older. The reflexes are slow, the vision changes. It is possible that the muscles that used to immediately catch us when we tripped or stumbled are no longer able to do so. A single fall, even a single one, can result in broken hips, head injuries, or time spent in the hospital, all of which can significantly impact your ability to remain independent. Falls are, in point of fact, one of the main causes of injury and mortality among those who are over the age of 65. The majority of the time, they begin with something uncomplicated, such as a rug that is not firmly in place, a piece of furniture that is low, or a floor mat that is curved at the corner. An elderly gentleman by the name of Walter, who was 84 years old, had a carpeted area rug in his living room. It had been in his possession for many years. On the other hand, he was holding a cup of tea when he accidentally caught the edge of the rug with his shoe and fell to the ground with a loud crash. Hip fractures were caused by the fall. Soon after, he spent many weeks in rehabilitation, lost his mobility, and had a significant drop in his confidence to move around freely at home. And this is the bit that most people overlook. The injury is not the only problem. The fear that follows right after is the problem. It was the hesitance. It is the loss of being free, mostly due to the fact that it is difficult to trust your body again after you have fallen. This is the reason why every floor surface is important. It is important to pay attention to every object that is in your way. If you have a shift in your gait or your foot doesn't lift as much as it used to, loose cords, shoes, or even pet dishes can be a perfect storm for you. The answer is not difficult to understand. It is possible to either remove loose rugs entirely or replace them with alternatives that are low profile and grasped. Keep the paths free of any obstructions. In gloomy corridors or restrooms, install lights that are activated by motion. The addition of handrails in areas where you frequently stand or turn, such as next to your favorite chair or by the edge of your bed, is another option to take into consideration. It is not necessary to sacrifice comfort or beauty in order to remove potential hazards from your floor, rather than creating a house that impedes your freedom at the most inopportune moment. It means designing a house that promotes your independence. There is no need to be paranoid about safety at this point in one's life. Maintaining one's strength, steadiness, and independence for as long as possible is the essence of this. Moreover, there are situations when something as straightforward as rolling up a rug is the initial step. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Lastly, some thoughts. Before we come to the end of this video, I would like for you to take a moment to not only reflect on what you have just heard, but also to take a tour through your own house with a new set of eyes. A location that has the atmosphere of a home is probably something you've worked on for years. You may store your memories, your habits, and the things that provide you comfort. But as you reach the age of 70, even the things you are most comfortable with can suddenly become dangerous without any prior warning. Fear is not the topic at hand. The issue is one of awareness. It is about taking charge of your area in a manner that is commensurate with the knowledge you have acquired over the course of your entire life. There is no requirement that you make every adjustment overnight. It is sufficient to begin with one. Change out a pan, replace a mat, and get rid of a rug that has never completely remained flat. Big things, such as your breath, your balance, and your freedom, are protected by incremental modifications. In light of this, I would want to inquire, which of these 6 stuck out to you the most? Which one of these will you be putting into action this week? We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.